Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar. Today we're giving an overview of the recently issued request for proposals for engineering, procurement, and construction services for a portfolio of projects at affordable multifamily housing sites. My name is Emily Basham. I'm the director of the Solar Marketplace Assistance Program Plus at the Connecticut Green Bank. Thank you all for joining us. Let's get started. Next slide. Today, we'll give an overview of the SolarMAP program and the projects that we've developed these under. We'll talk through the project sites themselves that are included in the portfolio. We'll highlight some specific aspects of this solicitation that are noteworthy. I'll turn it over to my colleagues to give an overview of the multifamily sites in the RES program. We'll highlight specific characteristics of the sites themselves and what should be included in effective proposal. We're going to aim to have some time at the end for questions, so please use the Q&A feature here on GoToWebinar to submit any questions as they come up throughout. If we're not able to answer your question on the call or additional questions come up afterwards, please email us at the rfp@ctgreenbank.com email address. We'll be sure to respond as well as post the Q&A on our website with the rest of the RFP materials. We are recording this webinar, and we will provide a link to the recording with our follow-up materials. Next slide. As a refresher, we're the Connecticut Green Bank. We're a quasi-public state agency tasked with accelerating clean energy through our programs and financial products. Our goal is to help the state meet our state climate goals and to do so in an equitable way. Many of you are familiar with our CPACE, Smarty, Solar Loan, Solar Lease, and Solar PPA products. We already work with many of you, and we're looking forward to engaging with you all on this opportunity to help us bring more clean energy to Connecticut. Next slide. This portfolio of projects is being developed through our Solar Marketplace Assistance Program, or SolarMAP Plus. Myself, Connor Burt, Nikki Dow, and Katie Shelton work on this program to provide no-cost technical assistance to support solar and battery storage projects. We support state agencies, municipalities, and affordable multifamily housing sites. Our goal is to bolster the already robust solar development market here in Connecticut and bring more projects to the market that wouldn't have otherwise. We've recently added a focus to our organization on resiliency, which means we have a new focus in our program to bundle solar with battery storage. Next slide. In SolarMAP Plus, we work directly with the property owner to identify sites for solar and battery storage. We do some initial diligence to determine if the property is eligible for the relevant solar and storage programs in the state and federally, and if there's a viable project on the site. We conduct site visits and financial modeling to produce a conceptual system design, and we execute a project agreement with the property owner. We then aggregate these projects into portfolios, and we bring these projects to the market for partnership with all of you. Once we've awarded an EPC partner, we work to finalize the development and construction and get the systems turned on. Next slide, please. All right, for an overview of this RFP opportunity, we are requesting proposals for EPC services at 11 affordable multifamily housing sites across Connecticut. There's some important aspects to this solicitation that we want to be sure to highlight. Given recent shifts in federal policy, we will be safe harboring these projects. So we'll look to execute a procurement agreement for equipment at the same time as the EPC agreements. We're requesting proposals for standalone solar projects at all 11 sites. All proposals that are submitted must include, as a base scenario, standalone solar. We're also requesting an additional proposal for solar paired with storage at 4 of the sites. And we'll get into a little more detail here later on in the presentation. We're requesting secondary pricing for solar and solar plus storage that includes the requirements associated with using greenhouse gas reduction funds. So Connecticut Green Bank is a subrecipient of the Solar for All Award, as well as the National Clean Investment Award. So we're looking to deploy these grant funds into these projects. And that comes with BABA and DBRA requirements, which we'll also touch on a little bit later in the presentation. I'll just note that this secondary pricing is optional, but it's strongly encouraged as this is a major goal of the Green Bank. And lastly, I will just recognize that we really appreciate your attention and participation in our RFPs. We recognize that they, take significant effort to participate in. For this solicitation, we are removing some of the submission requirements. If you are an eligible contractor to offer the Green Bank Solar Lease product, or if you've participated in one of our RFPs in the last 2 years. So you won't need to submit, your company information in certain sections of the proposal requirements, which are outlined in the RFP. Next slide. All right, so looking at the portfolio, we've got 11 project sites that total to be approximately 2.3 megawatts of solar. All projects in the portfolio are rooftop only, and they're located in several municipalities listed here on the slide across the state. 9 of these projects are going to be financed with the Green Bank Solar Lease product. So the Connecticut Green Bank will be the system owner, and 2 of the projects are going to be financed using the Green Bank's solar loan product. So the site owner themselves will be the project owner and will also be executing the EPC agreement and procurement agreement with the awardee. Next slide. So here's a bit more detail on those 11 sites. At the top of the table, you'll see the site name, the site address, the conceptual system size, and then you'll see indicated in the table which projects we're requesting a solar plus storage proposal in addition to the solar standalone proposal. And then the last row, you'll also see 9 of the 11 projects where we're requesting the secondary pricing that includes federal compliance requirements. Next slide. So as mentioned at the top of the call, we're looking to begin construction and safe harbor these projects. We've been working with these properties for many months, and we want to make sure that they get the maximum benefits of solar. So we'll be looking to procure a portion of the solar PV modules that you're expecting to use on the projects. To do so, we will execute a procurement agreement concurrently with the EPC agreement upon award. So we provided a template procurement agreement as an exhibit to the RFP, and we'll be posting our EPC template in short order, so you can review the language of both of those agreements. And then typical to our RFPs, we do ask as part of your submission that you review these documents and you're familiar with the responsibilities and agree to the terms. And specifically for the procurement agreement, that you are identifying equipment that can be delivered within the specified time frame. Next slide. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Stephanie Keohane, who will run through some more information about the federal compliance requirements.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. As Emily mentioned, there's a table in this presentation and then information in the RFP that indicates 9 of the 11 projects in the portfolio were seeking secondary bid pricing so that we can have the option to use federal funds that have been awarded to Connecticut through the National Solar for All program. The Solar for All program scope in Connecticut is largely focused on increasing access to solar and solar storage for tenants in affordable multifamily housing sites across the state. And so, as with lots of grant programs, the use of federal funds is associated with additional compliance requirements, and that often these requirements support additional policy objectives. So when the Solar for All program was established, requirements around prevailing wage being paid during project construction through compliance with the Davis-Bacon and related acts, as well as supporting domestic manufacturing through the Build America, Buy America Act, were both provisions tied to use of Solar for All funds in this case. As we've mentioned, a preference will be given to bids that have projects that can meet the federal compliance requirements. And if you just go to the next slide, please. There's much more details in Exhibit I of the RFP around federal compliance requirements, and if there are follow-up questions, I encourage you to submit them before that deadline, but just wanted to take a minute to highlight kind of the scope of the Build America, Buy America, as the requirements you can see in the slide require or apply to different categories. So all iron and steel, manufactured products as it's defined with more details in Exhibit I, which includes solar modules, as well as specific types of construction materials that are listed on the slide. With that, I will turn it back over to Emily. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephanie. We're really excited to include battery storage in this RFP, as resiliency is really a large focus of the program now. We're requesting this additional proposal for solar and storage for the 4 sites listed here: Herbert T. Clark, Rochambeau Apartments, Mark Twain Congregate, and West Ridge Apartments. Green Bank has commissioned a battery site report for these 4 sites, which provides a conceptual design for battery storage. We're including these reports in Exhibit A for your consideration, but you're not required to match them. Proposers should feel free to, propose alternative battery sizes, make and model of equipment, and functionality. There are some standard parameters to these projects that need to be met. The storage can be designed as front of the meter or behind the meter, as long as the storage can charge from front of the meter solar. So since all of these affordable multifamily sites are participating in the RRES program, it's required that the solar is front of the meter. So the batteries should be able to charge from front of the meter solar. The storage should also meet the requirements of the Energy Storage Solutions program, as we intend for them to participate in that program. And as far as sizing, the goal is really to maximize the resiliency benefits and the incentive revenue that the batteries can unlock for the project while balancing the equipment costs so that we can provide our properties with the best benefit. And lastly, contractors should be eligible or in process of becoming eligible in the ESS program. Next slide. So with the conceptual designs and the parameters I just outlined, this is a bulleted list of what the proposal should include for battery storage. So we're asking for a submission of what your inverter size and battery capacity is, the exact make and model of the equipment that you're selecting for the projects. And I'll just highlight a couple other items here listed on the screen, and of course, in the RFP document itself. But we require the proposal to have an estimated backup duration for summer and winter, and to demonstrate how the battery will still be able to comply with the energy storage solutions performance incentives. We're asking for, of course, the EPC cost estimate, as well as an estimate of the year one costs for O&M services. We're asking for a proposed solution for how the asset is going to be managed and how the DERMS communication will work. All right, so now I will turn it over to my colleague, Katie Shelton, to run through more characteristics of our sites.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everybody on the call this afternoon. Wanted to circle back to solar specifically and provide an introduction to the RES program. For anybody who's not familiar, all of the projects within this portfolio will be participating in the Residential Renewable Energy Solutions Program, or RES, for multifamily affordable housing. Through this program, it is a requirement that these projects be structured front of the meter. And with that, we just wanted to call out that we are looking for the most cost-effective approach for interconnection. That may be a single point of interconnection or multiple points of interconnection. We would ultimately defer to you when you respond, but keep cost in mind as you're evaluating your potential options. In Exhibit B, you will find an overview of the max allowable buildable system size for each of the sites. We've called out specifically the locations where load has been verified with the utility company. And for any site that hasn't been verified, we're providing an overview of the proposed system size in Exhibit A through the site report. Next slide, please. In addition to Exhibit A and Exhibit B in the RFP, you're going to see a high-level overview of each site. There's a table included there with specific information that you should review before responding. As just mentioned, that will include the maximum buildable system size as verified by the EDCs. There's hosting capacity information included in there, as well as some site-specific construction information like operating hours per day, security protocols, as well as some specific notes regarding on-site activities. Next slide. Wanted to just quickly touch upon a few key characteristics for each of the sites included within the portfolio. All of this will be noted in Exhibit B, but we just wanted to bring it to your attention on today's webinar. Specifically for Centerville Village, which is a site included in the Hampden Housing Authority portfolio. If any trees are removed from this particular site as part of your proposed design, it is a requirement that trees be replanted elsewhere, and the cost of removal as well as the new planting should be included in your EPC cost that is provided. Also wanted to just note that Hampden Housing Authority has received a re-roof grant for this facility. and re-roofing is currently going on site. We do not yet have the warranty documentation. That is something that ultimately will need to be followed up on post RFP. Within Exhibit A, you will find roof warranty documentation for the office only, which was recently re-roofed within the last couple of years. For ferry crossing, we wanted to specifically call out that mini splits are being considered for the facility. The location of that equipment has not yet been identified. And there was some discussion of equipment potentially being located on the roof. Has not yet been finalized, but we wanted to call it out to your attention here today. In addition, for this particular site, the facility we anticipate is going to qualify for the RES program as naturally occurring affordable housing or as a NOAA site, and that will require some additional steps for RES submission for the selected EPC for the project. Herbert T. Clark is a Glastonbury Housing Authority site. The facility itself is attached to the Herbert T. Clark Assistant Living Facility, and the roof for that particular portion of the building is older and not viable for solar. So when you look at the site report that has been provided for this location, we ask that you closely design in the areas that have been identified in the site report, as the assisted living portion of the facility is not viable for rooftop installation. Also just wanted to note that for this site specifically, aesthetics are a huge concern for the housing authority. So limiting exterior conduit run and exterior equipment is particularly important for this site. Highwood Gardens is one of 2 loan projects that are being included in our portfolio. This property owner is re-roofing the facility prior to solar being installed on site, and there is a spec sheet for the roofing material included in Exhibit A. As with the Centerville Village project, the selected EPC will need to follow up on the roof warranty information once that roofing project is complete. Because this is a loan project, the site owner has requested O&M contract pricing be included in responses that are provided for this particular site. And they have also advised that preference will be given to eligible minority contractors for this facility. Next slide, please. For Mark Twain Congregate, we wanted to call out again for this site that the layout should closely align with the site report that has been provided in Exhibit A. Reason for this is that the re-roof for the facility was phased in over time, and the western portion of the roof is about 20 years old and not suitable for an installation at this point in time. New Horizons Village is the second loan project within this portfolio. So as Emily mentioned earlier, the site owner will be executing an EPC contract directly, and will also be looking to execute a procurement agreement to safe harbor this project. Property owners specifically asked that respondents include snow guards as well as squirrel guards for the site. So that should be included in your design and response. And operations and maintenance costs should also be provided as part of the response for this location. For Quarry Heights, if any tree removal is required, the cost of the tree removal as well as stumping should be included in the EPC pricing provided. For Rochambeau Apartments, which is an East Hartford Housing Authority site, we just wanted to call out that there is existing behind the meter solar on site that is tied to a common area utility meter. And we did include drawings in Exhibit A of the existing solar system. For Salem Village, there are 3 different phases of construction for this particular facility. You will find in the site report that we are including solar on phases 2 and 3. Phase 1 has an older roof, and we're excluding those rooftops from design as they're not viable at this point in time for rooftop installation. And the last project to mention is West Ridge Apartments, where the property owner has indicated that preference should be given to minority contractors for this site. Pass it along to my colleague, Connor Burt here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Katie. So the next topic of conversation for the webinar will be to discuss some proposal requirements. So just to start with some general instructions, we ask that you review the full RFP carefully, and any prior Green Bank proposers may omit certain sections unless updates are provided, as Emily mentioned earlier. Some minimum qualifications that we ask for experience that the contractor has experience with 3 commercial PV systems greater than or equal to 50 kilowatts, or 20 systems greater than 6 kilowatts in the last 18 months. We also ask that you show financial capacity, hold an E1 license, and be in good standing with the Green Bank. Also, you must be an eligible contractor under the ESS program at time of the award. In addition, your proposal must include a corporate overview, which will include years in business, the number of employees, and office and project locations, team and experience, so discuss some key personnel qualifications, who will have what role on certain projects, and any certifications. Please include a project scope and schedule, which should include a timeline with certain milestones from engineering to commissioning. Importantly, please include a system design, which should include a layout, any trenching, equipment specs, warranties, site plan, and any tree removal info. Production modeling, please use helioscope or PV cyst with standard weather, soiling, or AC losses. For the pricing, please submit via Exhibit G, as that is an exhibit. It is a spreadsheet attached on our website. And that is available with and without federal compliance requirements. But as we said, we encourage you to submit both. And spare modules, please include 5% or 1 pallet per site. As other proposal requirements, we ask for some key technical specs. The DC-AC ratio must be less than or equal to 1.5. And we will also review capacity factors, and we may ask for justification. As for disqualifications, any failure to meet outline requirements might result in rejection or requests for revision, and our evaluation will be based on Table 3 in the RFP. That is how we will score your proposals. Next, we're going to talk about some important dates for this RFP. For starters, site visits will be happening next week, starting on Wednesday, August 6th, and we'll go to Friday, August 8th. Registration is required to attend these site visits, and proposers can register at this link or on the RFP webpage, and we strongly encourage proposers to attend site visits. The next date is the proposer questions. We ask that you submit questions by Wednesday, August 13th at 4 p.m. And for submissions, we ask that you submit your proposals by August 22nd at 4 p.m. And any proposals and questions should be submitted electronically to rfp@ctgreenbank.com. And for your subject line, please make it proposals or questions for solar EPC services at AMFH sites round 2, just so we can easily determine that it is your proposal. So next, this is just a quick site visit schedule for next week. We've seen that many people have already registered, but this schedule is also provided in the RFP document, which you can find on our website. And as we said, it'll last over 3 days, and you'll have access to all the different sites in the portfolio. So that brings us to our Q&A. Please put any outstanding questions you might have in the chat, and we look forward to the prospect of working with you.
Thanks, Connor. Katie and Stephanie, thank you guys for jumping in here. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. So if you do have a question, go ahead and stick it in there now. While I have you all, we do want to make proposers aware of another RFP opportunity that we will be issuing in the next week or so. This is also for EPC services for a group of municipal projects. We'll be soliciting very similarly solar as a standalone, as well as an option for solar paired with storage. And we will also provide similar resources, backup documents as our typical RFPs, and opportunities to ask more questions. If you found your way to this webinar, then I'm sure you're on the list for our distribution of RFP materials, so you'll receive an email when this opportunity is released. I don't see any questions in the chat, but you can certainly feel free to email us as they come up. Otherwise, we hope to see you all at next week's site visits, and certainly be in touch if you have any questions. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your day.